get back into the front, which is the front is really talking about the same thing as we're talking about here. But we are committed to seeing it, so we want to see what actually says. In the meantime, the only thing that I actually really looked at lately is on page Shin Lamed Aleph, where we are going once again through these. This is a vocabulary lesson. It's not the exciting lesson, or maybe it is. So we're trying to learn the language. So we got to the number Hey, which is actually on the next page, which would be Hod. So if we go to page Shin Lamed Bet, that's where I'm at right now. If we go to page Shin Lamed Bet, then we look over, we see Netzach and Hod. So what we just want to see about Hod, what happens in Netzach and Hod? So this is the left line, Baga Denai, from the Nai, the parts of Nai, parts of Chagat and Nai, and now he says down to the parts of the Chagat and Nai, the Ben, the Ma, the Zun. Now we're still dealing with Ma. It's coming down on Ma. It's coming to the left line of Ma, the Ben, the Ma, the Zun. And he's been writing that Zun refers to just the word Zeranpin. I'm not sure, I don't know this well enough to pretend that I understand all he's doing. We go back to page Shin Lamed Aleph then, try to understand this. Trying to learn, I hope I'm not boring you with this, the translation of the language of the Rav. So he says, Kael HaChamishi, so we're bringing the Kaelim, the Kaels in. It's going into the left line of the lower parts of, which is the parts of Nai, which is going to be Sfiras HaHod, the parts of Chagat V'Nai. Now, I just noticed that he said it before, but I noticed that previously I saw that he said the parts of Nai V'Chagat. But now he reversed it, and he says, now that you're in the parts of Nai, that was when you're in the parts of the Chagat. When you're in the parts of the Chagat, he said that this is going into all the way down into the lower section, at first the Nai and then the Chagat. Now, over here, when we're dealing with the parts of the Nai, he says the Chagat first. The Chagat, V'Nai, that's Perek Emsoya, Perek Tachton, the Hod. Not sure exactly why he would reverse the order that I'm trying to think of. I just don't know right now. And then he says the phrase, the Ben, the Ma, the Partsufi Zun. And once again, he says that Zun is Zeranpin. So, I guess he wants to say that Zun is Zeranpin and Yaakov and Rachel are Malchus. That's what I'm thinking he means. But Lachamshichem bebaga Denai, the Sfiras HaHod, the Partsufi Chagat Benai, Beperek Soy, Perek Tachton, the Hod. Which Hod? The Ben Dema. What is Ben Dema? Now, this one doesn't give me the good explanation to Partsufi Yaakov and Rachel. So we know there's a Ben Dema, so it sounds like it's the left side or the right side. So anyway, going on. We'll go to one more. It says, let's see how this goes. So he says, Kael Hashishi. What's this one? See, these are coming out of the Dati, other parts of called Nai, Sfiras Yisod, also better known as Sfiras Yisod. So, really haven't answered so satisfactorily to myself why the RASHASH wants to change the language from just saying the word Yisod. Instead, he says the Dati Denai. And what he's doing, I don't know what his Kavanot is, but he's doing is he's making different Partsufi. That's what he seems to be doing. He says not just Chesed, but Chesed is actually an aspect of another Partsuf, which is so like this Sfiras of Yisod. Anyway, we're talking about Yisod. The Partsufi Chagat Benai, again, he starts with the top one first and then the bottom part. In other words, of Perek Emsoy, of Perek Tachton, it goes in that order. The Ma, the Ben, the Ma, it's the Ma Ma'u ben dema. It's the right side, left side of Ma'u, the Partsufi Zun Za. So like I say, he's not explaining, just taking me by the hand and giving me the man, what it actually means. Though we see it in other places that I really think it refers to the right and left lines going like that. It's in the middle. Something like that. The Hamshich and the Data, you're going to bring it down the middle line, which is the spheres of Yisod. The parts of Chagad, V'nahi, the Perik Emsoy, Perik Tachton, the Yisod, you get the Yisod, the Ma'u ben the Ma, and you ultimately bring that whole thing through that train into the parts of Yaakov Arachel. So, I'm not sure that I really understand how to appreciate what the Rashash is trying to do here, but that's what he's doing. And we'll do the last one. Number Zion is Kael Shvi'i Mechachsadim and Nimshacha B'Kolcha Gimel Kavim. So this is now going to be all the Gimel Kavim, which is Chacham Bagadati. This is all going to go to the spheres of Malchus, Aklalis, the general sphere of Malchus. 1 second. Zer Anpin, Beperik Emsoy Shalo, which is the Chagat, Beperik Tachton Shalo, which is her Nai. I was just trying to think, what does he see that he reverses the Nai in the Chagat here? You know, you're standing, let's say, in the parts of Nai, and you're looking around, and there's a sub-parts of called Chagat and another parts of called Nai. And so you're in the Nai, and you count the one that's not you first. So not part of not the Nai idea, you count the other one first. When you're in the Chagat, I mean, that's what he's doing. When you're in the, I don't know why he's doing it, or if there's something else he's doing, but anyway, he says the Perik Tachton Shalah, which is her Nai, the Ma'u ben the Ma the Zun, which is the Ma'u ben, and you're still on the right side of Zun, the Hamshichim, the Gimel Kavim, Chachad Bagadati. You're going to bring them all down to these 3 lines, the spheres Malchus Aklalis, the Nook. So I'm not sure what he means by the Malchus Aklalis. You know, what other Malchus do we have? It's the big Malchus. It's ultimately down to, is that the big Malchus? Is that are there littler Malchuses or further down or something? I don't know. The Perik Emsoy Shalah, which is Chagat, the Perik Tachton Shalah, which is her Nai. First you're going to give to the Chagat, then get to the Nai, the Ma'u ben the Ma. So that means the 2 sides of the Partsufim of Yaakov Arachel, but we're talking about the Chasadim going down the right side. Okay, so the other thing that I want to look at, which is once again, just looking at some of the details, is we're going to go into the Chamesh Gevuros. Chamesh Gevuros has to have a slightly different language. So I think it's important to note, at least as far as Gevurah is concerned, that when we're dealing not this particular Tamuna, but normally there are also Havayas. But at any rate, that's not what's going on here. So let's just pick up what we can on this. It says like this at the top. We're going to bring in the first Gevurah, which is the Gevurah called Chesed. Mechachan the Chagat the Partsufi Nai v'Chagat the Ma the Ben the Zun. So he goes through all of that. We'll do it again. And then he shows you the Akia and the whole complete, and it's on the way he makes it sound, I was reading earlier, it's almost like it blossoms. It's like the Akia and its blossom. Its blossom is its count, which makes the Gematria Kael, and it goes in the world Adne, and we've seen this, it's the same thing. But what is the difference between this? Oh, there was a little bit more in the words is the Chachan, the Chagat, the Partsufi Nagi, V'Chagad, the Machad, the Ben, the Yaakov Arachel, and that's where it's going to go. That's its address. That's the address on its label. Let's see what he says here on number Kuf Kaf Aleph. Kuf Kaf Aleph. So he says, Hamshacha the Kael Harishon the Gevurosi, make a Gevur Shenimshkoch V'Hachan the Hagat. These are the Gevuros that come from the Chachad, the Chagat, Spheres Chesed, the Partzufi Nai V'Chagat, and the Partzufim of Nai V'Chagat. Those two, the Perik Tachta, the Perik Emsoi, the Chesed. The Ma'ad, the Ben, the right side of Ben, the Partzufi Zun, which is their Anpin. Now I'm a little bit confused about this, but let's see, because he's talking about the Chachan, the right line. So that's the first day, because the first day the Gevura goes into the right line. And so once it's on that right line then, right line, what right line? This is what is he telling me? Yeah, in Chesed it goes down the right line is their Anpin. I think, let's see if I understand it. It's a little confusing for me. The Partzufi Zun, which is the Hamshicha B'Chachan the Chagat, you're going to bring it to the same place, the right line of Chagat. That's Sfiras Chesed. You're going to bring him into Chesed, the Partzufi Nai V'Chagat. But what you're bringing in is a Gevura. The Perik Tachna, the Perik Emsoi, the Chesed, the Ma'al, the Ben, the Partzufi Yaakov Rachel. That's where it's going to go. Let's try another one. The Chagat. So we could read it up above, and let's see if I'm getting any better at this. The Chagat, that's the left line of Chesed. That's what it sounds like. The parts of Nai V'Chagat, then that's a parts of this Nai. This parts of now is called Nai V'Chagat. The Ben Zun, the left side of Zun. Hard for me there. So he says, then he shows us the Kael and how it goes into the Yagd, the Baga, the Chagat, the parts of Nai V'Chagat, the Ben, the Yaakov Arach. So let me see if I can make heads or tails out of number Kuf Kaf Bet. So Kuf Kaf Bet, he says it's the Chagat, the Baga, the Chagat. Kamen Hamshacha shall shar Shemos Kael, so should have this Kavanot. All of the rest of the names of Kael, they're going to be the same way. He says, Kael Hasheni, Mahaguvuros Ashenimsha Baga, and the left line, the Chagat, Spheres Gevura. Now, let me tell you how I understand that. I'm not getting my language or my translation right. So it says you're going to bring the second Kael, which is the second Kael is called Gevura. Megavuros Shenimsha Baga the Chagat, that are going down the Baga the Chagat, the left line of Chagat, Spheres of Gevura. That's not the way he says it. I was saying it was the Spheres of Chesed, but he says it's the Baga the Chagat, means the left line. I thought that Chagat, okay, he's going there, which is the Sefirah Gevura. Okay, so he says a Chagat does not just mean Chesed. I got it really confused a little bit. The Partzufi Nai V'Chagat, they come from the Partzufi of the Nai V'Chagat. The Perik Tachdon, the Perik Emsoi, the Gevura. Here he reversed it back again. So now it's saying about you're in Chagat, and the parts of a Chagat, and you're dealing with the Nai of that Chagat. Say that first. So he says Perik Tachdon, the Perik Emsoi, the Gevura, the Ben. What is Ben? The Partzufi Zun. Their Anpin. Ben to me means the left side of the left side. L'hamshich the Baga the Chagat, to bring them down to the Baga the Chagat, Spheres Agavur, to bring him down to that, the Partzufi Nai V'Chagat, Beperik Tachta, Beperik Emesoi, the Gavur, the Ben, the Partzufi Yaakov Arachel. And so we'll do, let's just switch, because it's going to be a duplication. And I was going to see what we have over here, like say in on page Shin Lamed Daled. Let's take number Hey. So he's Kecha Chamishi. So if we look over the previous page, the note says he said Mebaga Denai. left line of the parts of Amnai, the parts of Chagad Benai, of the Partsufim that are going to be the lower two parts of Zer Anpin, the Ben, the Dezun. So I'm still struggling with these different Ben, Dezun, Ben, Dezun, so on and so forth, to get a actual definition that would just take me by the hand. It hasn't happened yet, but let's see what he says in the Tiv Hakavanot in regards to the number Hey. Number Hey, he says, Kael Chachamishi, the fifth Kael then, Mahagavur Shanimshkoch Babagad Nai, from the Gavuras that are coming out of this left side of the Nai, of the parts of a Nai, which is, what is the left side of the parts of a Nai? Well, Nai is the lower section, which is Nai. Sefiras Hod, which is Hod. The parts of Chagad Benai, it's the Hod of the parts of Chagad Benai, and which he says that he's breaking down, and he's making it the Partsufim, not just the Nai itself, but also the Prokim of the Nai, because he says that in each of the Prokim, there's a Partsuf. So if there's a Partsuf in it, so that means, it's a Chagad Nai inside of what? Of the left line of Zer Anpin. The Perikim Soy, there's a Partsuf there, or the Perik Tachton, the Hod. Now again, the Ben, which I'm translating, and we find out that I'm wrong about this, but I'm translating it as the left side of the left side. The Partsufi Zun, which is Zer Anpin, or the parts of the Zer Anpin, and where it's going to go. The Nimshachim, the Baga Denai, it's going to go down to the left line of the, let's say, what the Baga Denai, so straight to the Hod. The Partsufi Chaga V'Nachi B'Perikim Soy B'Perik Tachna the Hod, the Ben, the Partsufi Rachel Yaakov V'Rachel. Okay, so that's some kind of an answer over there. Now let's just get started over here on it's the comparison. It's like a compare over there in the Rav to and we're going to get to that. Some of those, some of the things try to go lengthwise like we were doing before. Now we're coming to the word Hayom, and if we get over just at first saking of looking at it and trying to understand what we're doing here, it's exactly the same formation through the 5 Chasadim and the 5 Gevuros as we had when we were dealing with the word Sefirat HaOmer, the phrase Sefirat HaOmer. But here, the Kael is going into the name Havaya. So why? What's going on? In other words, it seems to me that it came into Zer Anpin, and then isn't that the way it usually goes? Or I'm missing something. It just came into Zer Anpin, and then from Zer Anpin went into the Nook. So what am I missing here? So therefore, you have a reverse order. It's going the other way. So he says, let's look over here. I wrote the word good by it. So he says, "Naknim as lashon Rab b'shar Hakavanot, b'sel l'shano." He said, "Va'amracha Hayom kach v'kach HaOmer." The kavan ki Yom. What is Yom? There's a kavan on the word Yom. Hu b'gematria Kael Havaya. So Kael, here you have the idea of just bang right in front of you, Kael Havaya. V'kavanahu he. So this is what you should have in mind when you're saying Hayom. Gemuk shivanas lachamshek el Kael v'adni. So in the same way, this is the same thing that you wanted to do in Kael adni. Kach kein tekavin lachamshek shem Kael b'zeh nikva Havaya ad kan l'shona. So there's a kavana in here to bring that in. Behind the Geshem Shebetevas Sefiras HaOmer, that like we saw, like they just spell it out again. Sefiras HaOmer Hamshachno as Anok Shemos Kael Shehem Levusha HaChug. We brought that, which is the Levush. Kain al derek Zechem Guvonim Ata Betevas Hayom. But when you get to Yom Lahamshech, the Zer Anta the Shem of Kael Shehem Levusha HaChug. The Gevar Hamshachno the Zechem Bechesachug, and even though Zah already has the Chug, V'levusheichem Betevas Havaya the B'Rachel. Sham nimshcha do ha'chug the bechinas ach. Over there, there's a hamshacha of the chug, which is the bechina of the acharayim, he says. Become mamshichin lo es the chug the bechinas upon him. So there's different aspect. This is what you're bringing now. You're bringing the chug when you say this. Now, isn't this like we had this question about why we let off with just an ekia pashut? That's what the scale. That's what we wanted to bring in. And over here is, he said, "V'kam mamshichin lo es the chug." Here we actually are bringing in the chesadim v'gevuros. He says they were already in, but only the backside was in then. The panim of it comes in now. So this is the concept that we're dealing with in the Siddur of the Rashash. So you look over the Rashash and Os Tes. So that's way back there. Over there he's going to he explains it. So it's something to think about. That is going back there. I haven't looked at it. So going back there and seeing it. So here though, V'hine kan rak es levusha hachug v'docha v'ches hachug atzman. So that's what's saying over there. So let's see. Let's go over it. Yom im hakolel gematria Kael ad Kael havaya. So with the kolel, chabetevus hayom. This is the kavanah again. The kavan shuku odach begematria Kael havaya. The remez al hamshachas shemos Kael shehim acharayim the ekia, which is what is Kael? It's the acharayim the ekia shenaasa the bechinas panim, as we saw previously. El Chazash, who Shem Havaya, with Intizah, who is the Shem of Havaya. We could do one more. Let's see what this one says. Number Kuf Kaf Dal. The Hamshik Asara Kael. So we're going to do that. And Mispar Pashut Ve'esra Osius the Chasara Ekyach the Vushach Abana the Chug the Ima. So it's going to be the same thing. Yekavin the Chamshach Abisar Shemas Kael Shehim Asar Levushach Achug Al Nimshacha Me'ima. Behem Ekia Pashut Im Mispar Asara Osius the Ekia. That's what we're repeating ourselves again. Immediately Ola Ha'olam Kael. So where we're going to bring it, we're going to bring the Sarah Shemos Havaya, the Panim, the Partsufi Chagat Benai, the Ma'u Ben the Zun. We're going to bring them the same. It's the same. Let me see how he says. Yikaven the Hamshik the Chasar Shemos Havaya, behind the call Echad Ben Partsufi Chagat Benehim the Bechinas Panim, the Ma'u Ben. So this is setting us up on the Panim side. Tzad Yamim is small. So now he says, wait a minute, V'nakiv Dechim the Panim the Ma. What is the panim ma? The ma'u ben. Tzad yamim is small. The zun, to both of them, right, left side of both. So now I wasn't wrong. So I think I'm not wrong. I'm still up in the air. So here, that's what we're doing. Bashnei bechinas klalos the chasadim keneged yisod shegeneged yisod the malchus. So in other words, the 7. Also the vushim of the 5 gevuros, bechinas klal is the gevuros, v'seder harashash l'hamshik kol echad me'elach hayudal bechinas the vushim achug kol echad the sefira achad the sefira chagad nehim the zeran ben the shnei aprakim shalom. Okay, I'm going to stop because I know we're running over time, and we'll come back and we'll do that again. Thank you so much for learning with me today.